I recently read a story about the black-eyed kids. This story felt like a twisted tale of déjà vu. I believe I've encountered a black-eyed kid. I've never mentioned this particular detail about the eyes to anyone, for fear they would think I was fabricating the story or going crazy. The incident took place about 13 years ago. I had just moved to a new city with my wife. We were small-town newlyweds from the Midwest. We moved cross-country to one of the biggest cities in the Southwest so I could attend graduate school. Being naive and new to city living, I habitually answered the door without a second thought. Never again after this. The first thing that should have tipped me off to the peculiarity of this situation was the fact that someone was knocking at 6 o'clock in the morning. The second thing that should have dawned on me is this kid had to reach over a rather tall patio gate to unlatch and open it. The knock at the door was startling. My wife and I were getting ready for work, a pretty normal routine. The moment I opened the door, I was overtaken with an inexplicable sense of fear. To this day, I can picture him. Teenager, average height, average build, knee-length black leather coat, short black hair, and sunglasses. The sunglasses at 6 a.m. struck me as odd, and what was even more odd was that he was eating an apple. He was very polite and asked if he could come in and warm up. I said no and closed the door and slid the security chain into place. A moment later, another knock. I opened the now chained door, and before I could speak, he asked again if he could come in and warm up. No, I reply again and attempted to close the door. Before the door could shut, he put his hand out, stopping the door on its hinges. He looked directly into my eyes, still wearing his sunglasses, and said, "Can I at least get some ketchup for my apple?" "No," I reply. "Get out of here. My wife is calling the police." He takes a moment to let this information sink in, lowers his glasses, revealing eyes as black as obsidian, and says, "No, you won't be calling anybody." At that moment, I force the door closed, lock it, and call out to my wife. She is scared, hiding in the bedroom. All jacked up on adrenaline, I rip the curtains back to look out the window next to the door. He's gone. Absolutely no trace of him. I go out on the patio and check the gate. It's still latched from the inside. That was crazy, I think to myself, and as I turn to enter the house, I notice a half-eaten apple lying on the ground. My mom's convinced that the house I lived in until I was in kindergarten was haunted. Apparently, the previous owner was a nice old lady and she died in the house before we bought it. She has a lot of stories about hearing doors creak, voices, and footsteps in the hallway before my sister and I were old enough to walk. Pretty standard ghost stuff. But the weirdest part she talked about is that sometimes in the middle of the night when no one was in my room, my mobile would go off and my crib would be rocking when my mom walked in and I'd be dead asleep. She thinks that when I was upset in the night, the ghost of the old lady would help calm me down in the night.